Welcome to the intersection of technology, cybersecurity, and society. Welcome to ITSP Magazine. You're listening to a new Focal Point podcast with Angela Marafino and Chantel Sims. In order to continue evolving as a forward-thinking industry that accepts others as they are, we need to hear more stories from diverse individuals regarding their struggles and successes throughout their careers in technology. Knowledge is power, now more than ever.
Hi, my name is Angela Marafino, and this is Focal Point. Today we have Katlyn Gallo. Hi, Katlyn. How are you?
Hey, Angela. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good. Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Hey, thanks for joining today. Would you like to tell our listeners a little bit about your role and what you do in cybersecurity?
Yeah, of course. So I currently work at a pharmaceutical company as a senior engineer on a tools team. So what my responsibility pretty much is to kind of configure security tools, make any changes to optimize them, bring in new tools. So, when we decide to purchase new tools, my team's responsible for deploying those. And then in addition to that, I handle a lot of the third tier escalations when it comes to IT support for our security tools. And then on the side, I do a little bit of cybersecurity blogging. So I have a blog called Dark Rose Security where, I write a lot of articles about my journey in cybersecurity as well as some technical articles too. So I like doing that kind of in my free time, if you will.
I like how you said I do a little bit of blogging. I feel like every day you post something. I mean, it's probably not every day, but I feel like you're the busiest person in my feed sometimes. And I'm like, yes. What is she doing
Honestly, now? Sometimes it feels like I do it every day, but really I'll wake up some days and I'm just like, nah, I don't feel like working on anything. So I'll go a few weeks without writing anything. And then all of a sudden I have 5 different article ideas and I'm like, oh my God, I have to write. I have to publish this stuff. So I get what you mean.
That's so awesome. So what was your background? Did you write anything before this, or did you all of a sudden you're like, I love this industry and what I do, and now I just want to write about it?
Honestly, yeah, that's what it was. I think I started it back in October of 2020. So you can't even say it was a pandemic thing because we were 6-8 months into the pandemic at that point.
Right.
But I think I was just kind of getting bored with my day-to-day job. I was a security analyst at the time. I had just started a master's degree program. So you'd think I would be busy, but apparently I had time to start a blog because one day I just woke up and I was like, I want to write. I want to do something more with my knowledge. So it might sound cliche, but I think I just wanted to start something new and see how it went. I've always liked writing. I've always been good at writing. So I was like, why don't I write about security? So the blog was born.
I hear you. That's kind of how this started. I was just one day I was like, I think I want to do a podcast. How do I do that? And just started doing it. So a lot of people I talk to now have backgrounds that weren't necessarily aimed at having a cybersecurity or tech career. You did.
Yeah.
What was your background, and what did you think you were going to do with your degrees?
So it's funny because when I graduated high school, I literally had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. I think a lot of people, but you have the typical people that are like, I want to be a teacher. I want to be a nurse. I want to be a cop. I was like, yeah, I have no idea. And, junior and senior year, you have guidance counselors that are like, so what do you want to do? What are you going to major in? And everyone was pushing me towards finance and accounting because my grades in math were excellent. I always was good in math. I was usually a year ahead of everyone. I took pre-calc, AP stats, all that fun stuff. So everyone was like, do accounting or finance. And I was like, okay, sure. So my freshman year, I majored in finance. And I mean, your freshman year, you don't get into
right.
your degree classes. I was still doing like gen ed stuff, but I ended up transferring back home after my freshman year, and I got a job at a local manufacturing company. I was just a customer service rep, but I ended up getting kind of in the weeds with our CRM tool. Okay. And the single IT guy at the company, because it was like 100-person, like family-owned company. So there was one IT guy that did everything. And he, I guess, was like working in CRM one day, and he saw some of the stuff that I had been doing. I was just like creating reports and some like fields in CRM. It wasn't anything crazy, but he was like, have you ever thought about going into IT? And I was like, no. I like never crossed my mind. And he was like, you should consider it. Like, I've seen the work that you've done in CRM, and I think you have like a good mindset. You have like what it takes to be in tech. And I was like, okay, cool. So a month later, I changed my major to information systems, and that is how I got into tech. That's awesome. It is kind of like, literally, I never would have thought I would be in tech. Like, I think back to my high school self, and like, if I had told her I was going to be working in security, she'd be like, what is that? So yeah, it's definitely, I think, a unique journey. Like, if it wasn't for that one person saying like, you should go into IT, I would not be here, which is crazy.
It's amazing. There needs to be more people like that guy.
There definitely does. Like, I say it all the time, like, we need people that are like pushing people into tech. Like, even if they have a degree in something and you see that they might be good in tech, you should just say like, you should go pursue tech, try it out, see how you like it, because we need more people.
I know. I talk about that frequently with random people about when I think we're about the same age. So again, right, when you're in high school, you start to get to the end of your high school years, and they're like, what do you want to do? And you're like, I don't know. Or, so like my sister wanted to be a teacher. She was a teacher. She did that. That's what she was going to do. And I was always like, I have no idea.
Literally me. Same thing.
They're like, you're good at art. You should do that. I'm like, are you sure? I feel like there should have been, and I mean, we took the SAT and like I did exams and I like excelled or whatever, right? I was also good in math.
Yep.
But nobody had like a career plan. Like, you may be good at these roles based on your interests or capabilities. I feel like there should have been some type of like, I don't know, assessment that could have been more informative and help me make a better decision. Like, I had tons of fun, but also it's not really sustainable, right? So I guess I'm not a Salvador Dali or anything, so it wasn't sustainable for me. Some people it's great, but yeah, so that it's cool that like you figured it out while you were still in college the first time, right? So yeah, that's awesome. And then what are your thoughts on that? Like, do you think it was easier for you because you did have like the college experience in tech versus some of the people you may meet who may like, I don't know, be self-taught?
Honestly, I have a lot of thoughts on this.
Share them. Sure.
So I'll try not to go off on a rant, but I came out of college with a 4-year degree in information systems, and I can tell you I have used probably none of that knowledge.
Okay.
I don't want to say none of it, because I did learn a little bit about databases, like the basics and like SQL, things like that. But I think the problem is it's really hard to put things into context. Like, you learn something in school, and I remember doing hands-on stuff with like SQL databases and things like that. But like, I've never been in database management or anything, so I never really got to tie that into a job somehow.
Okay.
But I've seen how that is with other things I do. Like, I might have read about the different parts of a computer. And then when I started getting into IT and having to like troubleshoot things on a computer, I was like, what am I doing? I don't know what I'm doing. So I honestly think there's still a gap like in the college curriculum. I think overall, I know there's probably some degree programs that are really good at preparing students for the real world in IT, but I think in general, we need to do better at preparing students for a job in like corporate tech. A lot of the times I think we focus so much on like, this is what a database is, and this is what SQL is, and here's the network, but we don't really tie that into like what corporate IT is. Like, we don't teach what Active Directory is and like the fundamental networking skills you might need to know. Like, I didn't know PowerShell or like what a command prompt was. And I feel like that's so basic in any IT role. Like, you should know how to ping an IP or like do a trace route. Like, those are such fundamental skills that would be valuable for any role, pretty much. Like, I'm a security engineer and I ping stuff every day. Just, it's just one of those things that we do.
Right.
And for me not to know what that was coming out of college, it's kind of like mind blowing. So I definitely think there's downfalls to tech degree programs, but like I said, I'm sure there are some out there that aren't that bad.
I hope there are.
Right?
No way
I
to
really
test this. I don't know. I hope there are, and I hope it's getting better. But that is a good point, right? Like, we do now also, though, like, we focus on the hands-on also, but what about like prepping for leadership, cyber, like CISO level? I mean, I guess, right, you do need to do the hands-on, I guess, to like learn what everything is and then understand like what's needed as a CISO, but at least having some course on, right, like upper level security management roles and what that might look like if you're interested in it.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
And even like, just having intro courses on like, this is how corporate IT and security is set up. Like, you're going to have a CISO org with probably like a risk management office. And then you have like the CIO and like, everything that falls under that. Cause I think it's important to learn about how things are structured. Like, we just dump students into a corporate environment and they're like, whoa, what is going on?
Yeah,
like, I work for a company with 26,000 people. And I just think if I had worked at this company right out of college, I would have been like, whoa, like there is a lot of departments here, a lot of people. And even now I struggle to understand like, oh, application team, like commercial, clinical, like, I mean, it depends on the industry, right? But like most big companies have different like lines of business. So like, I think that's important to teach too, just because like my first role was in another healthcare company that had 3 lines of business. And it took me like 2 months to understand what that meant.
Sure. Yeah.
I was clueless.
Yeah. I think like discussions around what it might look like to work in cybersecurity for a startup versus a major company versus medium size, and what some of the things you might have to take on as like in a startup. Because I've heard so many people be like, I'm going to go work for a startup. And I'm like, you sure?
Yeah, right.
Like, do they have benefits? Have you thought this through? And like some do, some don't. I don't know. But I think they just, it's like pen testing, right? Pen testing sounds cool. Startup sounds cool. I'm sure it's fun and great working at a startup too. But I think a lot of people fresh out of like just learning the information, just like, I want to do, that sounds fun.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's funny because one of my friends is looking for a job right now, not in tech, but she's like, yeah, like I got this offer from a startup and it has like 15 employees. I was like, ooh.
You're gonna do like 10 jobs.
Yeah.
And so, that's awesome if that's your thing. Like,
right. There's definitely like
but
downsides, but yeah, I totally get it. Like some people are just like, ooh, that sounds fun.
Yeah. Just like know what you're getting into. And if nobody's told you, and the same thing, right, is like a lot of people aren't aware that there's like governance risk and compliance that goes into it too.
Yeah.
You may not even never have to like use PowerShell or Bash or like anything SQL, nothing, if you're on that side, right? And so it's like, if those aren't your strengths, there's still opportunity for you.
Yeah, we definitely need to do better, I think, at like portraying the options too. Like even when I was an undergrad in my info systems degree program, I think I had 2 security classes and one of them was focused on project management. And it was like, managing a project in terms of like security of whatever was being rolled out.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I get that, but there should be more to like expose people to that. Yep. Those different functions in the field, like you said, risk and governance, because there's so much more to like the tech part of it, right?
Right. You recently earned your CISSP.
Yes, I did.
So congrats.
Thank you.
How was that? How was studying and preparing and all the things for that?
Well, so what's funny is I actually took the test back in 2019. So it was a little bit ago at this point.
Was it the time working in the industry thing that you had to wait for?
So okay. you need 5 years experience requirement or equivalent. So I think my bachelor's counted as 1 year, and then I needed 4 more years. So I had to wait, but I finally got the certification back in September. So that was exciting. Like I thought the excitement would be past because like I passed the test 2 years ago, but I've been an associate, which is like, I mean, that's cool and everything, but it's nice to be able to say like, yeah, I'm a CISSP.
That's awesome. And it's great to hear because I know some people, like everybody has their own opinions about certifications and what they mean and why people get them and whatever. And I know a lot of people just have a lot of certifications, but not necessarily the experience in the field. And you've done so much hands-on. So it's so cool. Like, what are you going to do next? Like, are you going to stay down the path of the role that you're in, or do you plan on some type of more managerial role in the future?
Honestly, I'm pursuing my master's right now. So I'm graduating in May with that.
Awesome.
So I haven't really been looking at any hardcore certs as of late, just because like I want to focus on my master's. I have been looking at the MITRE ATT&CK Defender course. I have a few of those badges, so I just have to finish out the certification because I recently got like an interest in that. So I was like, I'm gonna do the certification just as a way to like learn and have that cert because I thought it was cool.
Right.
So I was just like, that was kind of something I was doing on the side, nothing crazy. But I'm thinking I have a few ideas for what's next. I'm looking at the CCSP, the Cloud Security Cert by ISC Squared. That's typically the next step. Once people get like CISSP, they'll be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get my CCSP because from what people are saying, it's a little easier, but I think it's also a little more technical.
Okay.
It focuses more on like the technical aspects of securing the cloud from what I've heard. I haven't really looked into that much yet, but so I'm considering that. And then I'm also looking at the CISM, which would obviously be more like managerial. And then kind of a crazy next step that's possible is I've been thinking about getting a certificate in journalism because I had this crazy thought that like, there's people behind all those security blogs out there, like vendor blogs and things like that.
Yes.
And I really enjoy writing. So I'm thinking maybe taking my career in like the more writing direction with possibly like writing threat intelligence, like if I worked for like a Mandiant or Recorded Future or something like that. Yeah, I guess we'll just see what happens. I definitely think I want to pursue some more certifications, but I think journalism, just learning a little bit more about it and having like some sort of accreditation that I'm a good writer and know what journalism is might help me if I choose to kind of take my career in that direction.
You're gonna be the next Kim Zetter.
Right. I'm like, maybe I could be the next Krebs. I mean, Krebs, if you're listening, I'm not coming for you, but hey.
Oh, that's so awesome. Yeah, I think about that too. I'm like, what a cool job that must be, right? A lot of hard work, but also cool.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm ready to leave tech behind because I know if I choose to do something like that, it's like bye-bye tech. And then I feel like once you leave the technical stuff behind, it's hard to get back into it. So that's one of the reasons why I'm still on the fence. But
I don't know. You seem pretty passionate about both. You could always just like do the tech in your free time instead of the journalism and still do both. Just like which one? You mentioned the MITRE ATT&CK stuff you're working on and have been interested in. I saw a post that you posted about having failed one piece of it 3 times before you passed. And I think that's awesome because I've talked to a few people who have said like, we don't talk about our failures. You just see when somebody passes. And so like, all over the internet, you see people, I passed this cert and I got this degree and how many times do we all fail? We don't say, hey, I failed this. Sometimes people do. And I think it's amazing. There should be more transparency for sure about like, it's okay. Like nobody's going to pass everything every time. Some people do, but failure is a part of life and it's okay, and keep trying.
Yeah, exactly. And like, that's one of the reasons I shared that, just because I I go on LinkedIn now and you see everyone like posting that they got a new job or they passed this cert. And I think it's great. Like we should be sharing those accomplishments, especially like, passing difficult tests like the CISSP or becoming like AWS certified. Like those are awesome achievements. Like we shouldn't be holding that back, but I agree. Like I think people don't so much share their struggles and failure. And for someone that struggles, you see all these people sharing their accomplishments and they're like, oh, I want to do that, but like I keep failing. And then you just like, I don't know, sometimes you end up thinking like, oh, why can't I do this? I'm doing something wrong, or I'm stupid, or it just starts, you think all of these things, like not that you're trying to bash yourself, but you see everyone else achieving their goals and you're like, why can't I do that?
Yeah.
So I think it's important to share those failures. And I failed that test 3 times. And I remember I would get so frustrated because I'd spend so much time. You have to earn a certain number of badges to get the certification. So this one badge that I was stuck on, it was 19 questions pulled from a pool of like, I think 30 or 40.
Okay.
So some of the questions I was getting, I had seen before, but it's also like open note in a way, because you can use the attack framework and you can Google, like, nice. It's not like you can't research on your own.
It's realistic. That's nice.
Yeah, right. Like you could do the research, and I think you have like 2 hours to do the 19 questions, which seems like a lot, but like the questions are pretty hard. Like you have to use the attack framework, figure out different mappings and things like that. So I would spend all that time, and then you click submit and you wait for the results to load, and I would see I failed, and I'd be like, oh my God, like. And I remember getting so frustrated, but I kept going back to it because I was like, I can't just not finish this. Not to mention it's a $300 subscription. Okay. So it's like I had put money into this, and I'm like, I need to pass.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I ended up passing on the 4th try, which is nice.
Yeah.
Definitely exciting. I was like, whew, I am glad I passed that. I don't know what I would have done if I failed again. But
you probably would have done it again. You're like,
I know,
next time.
Yeah. And like, that's one of the other goals of my blog too. Like someone once said to me, like made a comment about how they liked that I wrote like beginner content. And I was kind of like, sorry for sharing like me learning basic skills. Like we all had to learn them at one point. Like, yeah, I look back at some of my initial articles and it was on learning Linux. Like I had never worked on Linux, so I was doing some try hack me stuff, kind of going through the guidance challenges, and I didn't know command line interfaces that well, and I was struggling with what are considered basic like skills with Linux, but I had never done it before. So it makes sense that I was struggling and I was getting frustrated. Like it's not easy for someone that doesn't work on command line stuff all the time, or like didn't grow up using Linux. How would I be expected to know how to use that? So I remember I wrote a few articles about, my frustrations. Like I wrote how it took me X amount of tries to figure out this challenge because I kept getting stuck and it kept outputting an error or something like that. And for someone to say like, I like how you write newbie content, I'm like, well, I would hope it's valuable to people. Like they can see that other people struggle too. We don't all know everything right off the bat, right? So
yeah. And also, right, like newbie to who, like there's, even if it seems newbie to them, it's probably very advanced to people that are just starting out that don't even know what those things are or understand why they're used, right? So I think it's all valuable. Plus, it shows, I mean, not that you're like on the job hunt right now or anything, but if you were, right, they can see that you take the initiative to do self-learning and you like to share it with others so that they can learn from how or why you did what you did, which is very cool.
Yeah, I have really enjoyed just kind of putting, I guess you could say I'm putting myself out there, but I really just like sharing my journey because my hope is that people will get something out of it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I also saw at the bottom of your blog somewhere, like on Medium, I guess it says interested in contributing. Is that something they put, or did you put that, or
I do have contributors to the blog, so I'm not the only writer. It's a publication on Medium, so I can have multiple writers. So I have opened it up for contributions. If people want to write articles for the publication, they just have to email me. And I usually kind of look at some of their past articles, make sure they write about like relevant content.
Sure.
And then they have the ability to submit an article to the blog, and I just have to approve it, and then it gets published there. So I do have, I have probably like between 5 and 10 other people that have written articles, which is pretty cool. Like, I think that's been a good way to diversify the content as well, because obviously I'm only one person. I only have one job in the industry. Like, I'm pretty focused on the engineering aspect. So I've had a few pen testers write some ethical hacking articles, security awareness articles from like analysts. So it's been pretty interesting to get different submissions from people that work in different areas of tech and infosec.
That's fun. That's awesome. I'm glad people take you up on that. I was going to say that's a great opportunity.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you think like the extra work you put outside of your job has opened you up to more opportunities, or like have you met people that you thought you'd never meet, or how's that been for you?
So it definitely has opened up more opportunities, not in the sense of like job opportunities, but more just kind of broadening my network. I think being more active on LinkedIn and other social media has just kind of opened up doors, like where people come across my content and they connect with me and they're like, hey, you know, this is really cool that you're doing this. So that's been pretty awesome, because like when I started the blog, I didn't really have many expectations for it. It was just kind of something I wanted to do. So it's been cool to hear, like, you know, I read this article and it was super insightful, or I learned a lot from it. So that's been cool. But I think in general, writing has helped me grow professionally. It's just, I don't know how to explain it, but I've come to the point where like I'm always thinking of article ideas, and I'll think of something and be like, this is a great topic to write about for like a beginner. And then obviously while I'm writing, I have to do some level of research. You know, I don't know everything.
Right.
So it's allowed me to do kind of like that self-taught thing where I have to go and research, read a little bit, familiarize myself more with what I'm writing about. So it's helped me grow in that aspect too. But I think just in general, like it's broadened just my network, and it's kind of been a way for me to put myself out there without like having to try that much. Like sharing content on LinkedIn, I think, is a great way to put yourself out there without like having to come up with these like amazing posts, because you see people posting like these inspiring stories, and like that's how they grow their network, which I think is cool. But being able to just share an article like, hey, you know, I recently had this experience, like let me know if you can relate, or things like that, I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely been I think a learning experience for me too, just like figuring out what I like to write about. And you know, the articles that come easier to me, I find get more attention and people enjoy them more than like things that I try too hard to write about. So I've definitely learned to like stay in my lane when it comes to that. But I think it's worth putting in the work. Like if you find something that you're passionate about, like putting in the work to either learn more about it or become an expert in it is definitely worthwhile, because you're only going to get so far in like what you do in your day-to-day role, right? Absolutely. Like you could totally become stagnant in like an analyst role if you're not doing something outside of work to learn more about like a different topic that you might enjoy, or, you know, pursue a different career path. If you're looking to go into like engineering or pen testing, like you're not going to get that level of experience in an analyst role most likely. So I think doing stuff outside of work is definitely important in order to like help your professional growth and help you get where you want to be.
Yeah. So like, what else do you do outside of cybersecurity?
Oh boy.
How do you
I blog.
And all the work your work in your free time. Me too, kind of, but
it's funny because one of my coworkers, I think like a week ago, was like, he saw a post about my MITRE ATT&CK badge that I had earned. And he was like, congrats, but like, how do you have time to do all of this?
Yeah.
He's like, on top of your blogging and work, like, when do you have time to take these tests? And I do have a life, contrary to what people might think.
Yeah.
Outside of work, I watch TV like many people do. I have a few favorite shows, Grey's Anatomy,
okay,
A Million Little Things. Those are probably my top 2 right now, but I have like a list of like 10 more.
Yeah.
So I definitely watch TV. I love reading. It's
cool.
It's funny. One of the gifts I got for Christmas was my friends made me a personal book club. So they bought me 12 books off my Goodreads list, which Goodreads is like an app where you could track like books you want to read and things like that. So they went into my want to read list and they picked out 12 books. They bought them for me. And it was like my own personal book club. So
that's adorable.
I have 12 books to read this year on top of like 10 other ones that I already have to read.
You can do it. That's awesome. So, what a good gift.
It was a really good gift. And what was cool is like they wrote on the inside of each cover like a little note for me, like, this one's for January. And then they wrote like, we hope you enjoy this. And they personalized it. So that was cool. I like to go to vineyards in my free time on the weekends. Every now and then I'll go. There's a few vineyards around Connecticut that my friends and I frequent, and I love going out to eat. So like I will never turn down an opportunity for like a good burger, some pizza.
Right.
So yeah, I do have a life.
I love eating. People are like, what do you like to do? I'm like, I eat a lot.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a place here where you have to order pizza. They only make you pre-order, then they make them. There's no walk up, there's no delivery. Like you can't just get it today and be like, I'm hungry for pizza. I finally ordered one and I will be getting it at the end of April.
What?
Yeah.
That's
how far out it is.
That is
it's
insane.
Like, you can order a pizza for months from now, and it's great because it's pizza. So you're always like, yeah, I'll want some pizza.
Yeah, you can never turn that down.
Like anything else, you're like, how do you even know like what you're gonna be doing?
That's insane. So
I'm gonna forget, and then I'll remember because there's like reminders, and then I'm gonna be like, yes, it's pizza day. So that's a whole thing here, which seems kind of ridiculous. Like I'm sure there's just as good pizza that you don't have to wait months for, but it's a fun thing to try.
Yeah, well, I mean, I live near New Haven, Connecticut, which is like the pizza capital of North America.
Is it?
Yeah, you haven't heard?
No.
I think Barstool Sports, they covered New Haven pizza at one point. So if you ever are interested, they did reviews on, there's a few different pizza places in New Haven, Connecticut, and they're pretty much like the best pizza places in the country. So
what? Okay.
I live like, within like an hour of there. So awesome. No big deal. Okay. But yeah. New Haven pizza is like where it's at from what I've heard.
Okay. I'll have to check that out one day. How do you manage your work-life balance? So yeah, you do a lot. I feel as though, productive people are more productive and they just do more things because I don't know. It just like happens that way. But how do you manage that personally?
Yeah. So this is an interesting one, right? Like I think everyone has their own ways that they manage their work-life balance, but I have found a few things that work well for me. For one, like when I first started in IT, I was in a systems engineering role and I was kind of a newbie. So I got tacked on with like the on-call stuff, which I think we all go through that phase where we have to be on call. One of the things that I found was that I was working a lot of hours because I was trying to log off at the end of the day with like everything done. Like I worked in customer service before I got into IT, and I would leave every day with like an empty CRM dashboard and it would be all clean. And then the next day I would come in and have more work to do, but I would leave at the end of the day with everything done. Right. So when I got into IT, I expected the same thing. And I quickly realized that does not happen. There's always work and the tickets are never ending. Projects are never ending. Priorities shift every day. So once I came to terms with that, I was able to find ways to shut my mind off at night, because that was what was kind of getting in the way of my work-life balance. I would log off and still be thinking of work, and I'd be trying to like watch TV at night and be like, oh my God, I forgot to do this.
Yeah.
So one of the things I've found helps me is before the end of the day, I take like 10 minutes to just wrap things up, where I'll look at like emails that I've opened and didn't respond to, or no, I need to do something with. I'll mark them unread. That's my way of like filing it away for the day. And then I'm the type of person that writes to-do lists down. So if I have things on my to-do list that I didn't finish, I'll move them to the next day as a way to like mentally close that out.
Right.
So I think it's kind of like a game I play with myself where like I make myself think I finished everything for the day, but really I just moved it to tomorrow. But it's helped me like shut my mind off when I log off work, right? Because at least I know like, okay, I marked this unread, I'll get to it tomorrow. Whereas like, you know, I worry about something at 8 p.m. and I'm like, did I respond to that email? I think I opened it and I didn't do anything with it. Like I'm going to forget about it. So I think it's important to find little things like that that help you shut work off for the day.
Right.
But outside of that, I think it's just really important to do something for yourself every day. I think a lot of times people wait for the weekend to do things that they want to do. And I mean, we work 8 hours a day, but there's still so much time left to do something that we enjoy. So I pretty much take time out of my day every day to either read or work out. Like I have a lot of things I like to do during the day. So I find time to do that, even if, you know, there's days where I have a ton of meetings and I'm like, oh, I'm not going to be able to go to the gym, or like I'm going to have to work late, but I fit it in somehow, because I think it's important to not sacrifice things that I want to do or things I enjoy doing just because like I had a super busy day or my day's jam packed. So I know it could be hard, like people that have families and kids, a lot of different commitments, but there's always time. Like, you know, you can shift things around, adjust like your work schedule. It's so easy nowadays in the work from home lifestyle.
Yeah, I was gonna say, are you remote?
Make a flexible schedule. Like I know not everyone works remote still, but I think companies are a lot more understanding now of like people's lives outside of work. So it's a great time to find that extra time for yourself. But do yoga or read in the morning, like enjoy your coffee. Like I think that's so important. Yeah, that's pretty much what I do to maintain it all. And really, in terms of productivity, I think it just comes down to being consistent.
Sure.
I saw this like graphic the other day from an Instagram account that I follow, and one side of it was your level of productivity when you rely on motivation, and it was like a line chart. So the line was like up and down, because when you rely on motivation, you like have bursts of productivity and then you go to nothing because you're not motivated to do anything. The right side of the chart was when you rely on consistency, and it looked like stairs, because when you are consistent with something, you get a little bit done every day. And so I like to think of myself as being more consistent. Like I know it can be hard to be consistent, but I think that pays off better than relying on your motivation when it comes to being productive.
Yeah, that makes sense.
If you're someone that's struggling with productivity, then focus on being more consistent with your efforts rather than waiting to be motivated. I think that's what it comes down to. I mean, people are always asking me like, how do you do it all? Like, how do you find the time? How do you find, you know, the inspiration? And I'm like, I'm used to it at this point. And it's not like I don't enjoy it. I like writing, so I don't mind it. It's not like I'm forcing myself to do it. But when you do something consistently for a while, it just kind of becomes part of your routine.
Yeah. And you're, you know, you're still doing your master's. So you're also like in school.
Yeah.
Like is it virtual or in person? I don't know.
Yeah, it's virtual.
Okay. And so that's virtual, and it's like, it's a lot. And I remember when I did a cybersecurity boot camp, and because neither of my previous degrees were related, but I was like, I can't get another bachelor's. Like, I just can't put myself through that. But the intensity of the boot camp, it was like cyber all day, every day, for so many months, and extra hours at night and on weekends. But then like, once it ended, you feel kind of like, I really loved I don't know, like the pattern of like okay, I got to do this. I work, I eat, I do the schoolwork, I study, and like, no, I didn't have as much time for like hanging out with people, but the structure was there and it felt good. And then once you're done, you're like, what do I do in this space? Or
now what?
where's the push that like I didn't have to push myself because I had to go to class. So it's like, you're forced to tune in from whatever time to 9, and then so you make time to do things. Otherwise you will never do anything. So yeah, it's kind of cool how like the more productive you are, better it feels, I guess.
Yeah, I personally feel more, I guess, fulfilled when I have so much going on. Like, I don't know, not that I need to be kept busy. Like, I definitely like my downtime, but there's something so like satisfying about having like a structure and like, oh, I need to get this done. And then when you get it done, you're like, oh, that's great. Like I finished it. So I totally get it.
Yeah, I think we all feel good about accomplishing things, right? Just like what and how is the real question. I know you talked about like that guy that worked with you before you got into all of this and suggested you work in IT. That's awesome. And that's how you got your start. But what is the best advice that you've received about like in cybersecurity?
I think the thing that comes to mind is one of my previous managers once said to me to invest in myself. And it was to provide a little context. I was studying for the CISSP and I had already bought the textbook. I had bought some Udemy courses, Udemy practice tests. And like, I was still in the beginning of my career. I wasn't making a ton of money. I had to pay rent. I had bills. So I was a little worried about how much I was spending.
Sure.
But I knew I had to, buy study materials. So one day I was talking to my manager about how I was worried, like I wanted to buy this. I forget. I think it was Kaplan Learning. They had a CISSP package. I don't remember how much it was, but it was enough that I was stressed over spending the money.
Yeah.
But I had heard it was a good tool to use for studying. And so I was telling him like, I have to buy this, but like, I'm really stressed out. And he told me like, I was kind of expecting him to sympathize or be like, oh, maybe try like this, free tool. I don't know what I didn't expect him to tell me to invest in myself, but that's what he said. He said, this is going to pay off in the long run. If spending this money now is going to help you get this certification, you're going to reap the benefit of it. So that kind of just stuck with me. And it stuck to me to the point where I heard that advice when I was purchasing the MITRE ATT&CK subscription last year for $300. And then again, when I first started on Try Hack Me, I think they have a free version, but you have to connect to like the VPN. Okay. And the paid version gives you in the cloud, the in-browser cloud VMs.
Okay.
So, that was more of just convenience.
Yeah.
But again, like I heard like, just invest in yourself. Like if you want to learn this stuff, invest in yourself. So that has stuck with me because I think it goes more than just money. Like obviously not everyone will be able to afford like, a couple $100 courses. I was lucky that I was able to, but I think it's also applicable when you're in a role and you want to attend like some sort of training or something and it costs like $1,000. Invest in yourself by talking to your managers. Sell them on like why you should be able to attend the conference or the training or the course. That's another way that you can invest in yourself. So that's just something that's stuck with me. And I think it's a valuable piece of advice for us cybersecurity folks because there's so much training out there, but a lot of them are expensive and that could be a deterrent. So I think it's important to keep in mind that if it's something that's got great reviews or people are recommending it, it's probably worthwhile in the end. So
I agree. And, it's tough because, like some things cost way more than others. There's training out there that's like pay as you go. I've done that. It's awesome.
Really?
Yeah, or not pay as you go, sorry, pay what you can. Because obviously, like people starting out aren't making 6 figures. Like
exactly.
I'm trying to learn this, but also I've heard people say like I don't have any experience, how will I get a job? And I'll say sit for, Security Plus. That's not a SANS cert. You don't have to pay thousands of dollars, and it's a good baseline. Get into security. I know the fundamentals and can do, the work probably if I did all the hands-on labs. It's a couple $100. You may not be able to pay for it in like one paycheck, but if you save over a couple weeks, you should be able to. And a lot of people are like, I don't know, I don't really have the money right now. And I'm like, you do. You definitely do.
Find it.
Don't go out on the weekend and you'll have it.
Yeah.
And it's like drastically cheaper than if you got a degree or like anything else. So just do it. So yeah, definitely. And also, like you said, promoting yourself and trying to sell like why it's important to you, to like your manager or whoever. A lot of the training or certifications have a like thing at the bottom of their information for that training or cert that says like, need to justify this to your employer. And they like tell you, right? They like give you the advice on why it's important or what you could say. So you don't even have to think of it yourself. There's like information there to help you, right? Yeah. Or like, I don't know if it's an email template or what, but definitely opportunities to like help you do that. So yeah, that's great advice. I totally agree with you there. And again, right, there's free stuff. It's just like the payment that you're giving for that is time. So
yeah, exactly.
If you really want to do something, spend the time to learn it. And you may not be able to, go on vacation as much that year, but if you do and you change your career, you'll get to go on a lot more vacations in the future. So
that is so true.
Definitely invest in yourself. Anything else, Katlyn, you want to leave us with?
Oh, should I have some crazy
no, you don't have to.
Inspirational parting words?
No, you don't have to.
No, I mean, I really enjoyed this conversation. I think it's important to have conversations like this. Just transparency, like you said earlier. I think a lot of times, people that get into security see all of these big names in the industry and they're like, oh, how do I get to that point?
Yeah.
And I think getting there is just a matter of like getting your foot in the door somewhere, building your network, having conversations like this,
right, and
kind of just learning about other people's experience. Like I think it's super important. So I enjoyed being a part of that.
Of course. Yeah, me too. And I think we're a similar trajectory. You're probably a year or two ahead of me, but we're just, just doing our thing. Like we're not 10, 20, 30, 40 year, cybersecurity career vets at this point. So anybody could do anything at any time. So just know, like, in a few short years, you could be us. Or anything else.
That's exactly right. Like
better than us.
5 years ago, I was like undergrad, had no idea what a command prompt is. So let that be your inspiration.
Exactly. Well, thank you so much, Katlyn. It has been an absolute pleasure speaking with you.
Yeah, it's been awesome being here. Thank you.
All right. See you later.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Focal Point Podcast with Angela Marafino and Chantel Sims. If you learned something new and this podcast made you think, then share itspmagazine.com with your friends, family, and colleagues. If you represent a company and wish to associate your brand with our conversations, sponsor one or more of our podcast channels. We hope you will come back for more stories and follow us on our journey. You can always find us at the intersection of technology, cybersecurity, and society.